Sandy Kreisberg here, the HBS Guru. This week is a little different. Our beloved leader, John Byrne, is out, so you're stuck with me and our candidate. He's a 2+2 applicant, so what we're going to do with the candidate is give him a sort of fast 2+2 mock interview. Okay, so Mr. Candidate, why don't you come on board here and tell us just some, well, no, let's start it. Very often, the 2+2 interview, there's two people in the room. There's a interviewer and the observer. And the first question that the interviewer asks, they go, well, Mr. Candidate, I've read your folder, but the observer hasn't. So can you introduce yourself to the observer?
Sure, of course. So I am a senior at SMU, majoring in finance and world religions and minoring in Chinese. I'm also getting my master's in finance this year, and I'm graduating with all of these degrees in a week. So I'm really excited. With my time in college, I would say that I've worked towards two major goals. The first goal has been to learn how to create social impact. And the second goal has been to learn about different cultures. So for the first goal of learning how to create a social impact,
let me interrupt you here.
Sure.
I'm going to give that a pass plus. You're trying to connect with the audience. That's good. You're a likable guy. That's good. I'd say your way of talking, maybe it's just because of all the technology, is a little stilted. Okay, It's like a little scripted.
Got it.
Scripted is a word that they fail people for. That the whole bottom line is don't sound scripted, don't be scripted. That's what they're looking for.
Okay.
So introducing yourself is hard, but you were going down a rabbit hole, and if I didn't interrupt you, there was no end to that introduction.
Definitely. Yeah. So should I try again, I guess?
This is real important. Yeah, you can try again. But before you do it, tell me what you think you're going to do.
I think this time, I'm not exactly sure. Obviously I prepared a script beforehand. So I guess if I were to introduce myself, I would say that I am a senior from Dallas.
Let me help you out here. Make it real. No one ever got into trouble for an answer that was too short.
Gotcha.
The way people get into trouble is they have answers that are too long. They start drifting. And then they're gone. And the word they use is scripted because you often go into scripts about different parts of your life. But
got it.
Just try and do it. Here's one. Try and do it in 30 seconds.
Sure. So hi, I am a senior from SMU in Dallas, Texas, where I've lived for the past 15 years. A little bit about me: I love personality psychology. I'm a vegetarian foodie, and I love exploring different cultures, which is why I like to travel. My favorite experience in college was studying abroad in China, which were the best 2 months of my life. I came to Peak Weekend last year, which was really exciting.
That's a little better than the last time, but you still haven't got it.
Got it.
Okay, my name is Joe Blow. I attend SMU. I've got a master's in finance. I've had some great jobs at Capital One and Ernst & Young, and next year I'm going to be working at Liberty Mutual, and I'm looking forward to it.
Got it. Sure. So, hey, nice to meet you. I'm from SMU, and I'll have to work on this.
Kiddo, first question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to recover. If you screw that up, it's really hard to recover.
Yeah, definitely.
So to you and everybody else watching, all the other 2+2ers, be able to introduce yourself. Okay, let's do another question here. Hey, what do you know about HBS? Can you tell me if you've been to campus, been to a class, or spoken to people, or what?
Sure. So I came to Peak Weekend last year, and I actually loved it. So I didn't really know what to expect, but then when I saw the case method, I was a bit blown away because not only did I learn from my professors, but I also learned from the incredible group of students that were there as well. And so I think the case method helped me see problems from many different angles. And I think that experience was invaluable, which is why I decided to apply to 2+2.
All right, I'm going to give that a pass minus or a pass. You don't sound fully conversational. That's critical. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me, or you don't know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I agree with you.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's 90% of it. The other 10% is just the content,
Yeah.
and they intertwine. You go. Well, I know a lot about, I know a good deal about HBS. I went to Peak Weekend. That was really exciting. I got introduced to the case method. I met some great fellow candidates there. I've read about the case method. I've seen the movie, and I found that exciting. And since my interests are in finance, I've even looked up some of the finance courses like A and B that sound exciting.
Got it. Okay.
How about that as an answer?
Got it. So should I try again or?
No, let's keep moving here.
Yeah.
They often do a whole program on college. So they say, this is often the first question. Could you tell me about your decision to go to SMU?
Sure. So I went to SMU mainly because of my scholarship. It was a full ride scholarship. And for me, I knew that I didn't want to take on too much debt. But besides that, I actually also wanted to go to SMU.
Well, tell me about applying for the scholarship, or what other scholarships you applied for, or what other schools you thought about. You get what I'm driving at here?
Yeah, so I applied to schools in the South. I was really interested in staying in the South. I'm a Southern guy. And so I was actually deciding between SMU, Duke, and UT. I went with SMU not only for the scholarship, but also because it was easy to double major. So I'm a finance major and also a world religions major. And I knew that I wanted something in business and something in the liberal arts too, which is why I picked
what was your research, or sometimes they use the fancy word diligence, like from a investment bank. What was your diligence about, or your research about SMU?
Sure. So I actually went to college before that. I went to a dual high school and college program. So I knew that it was really important to learn, what makes up a major, what exact classes I would be taking, how those classes were structured. And so I looked up the requirements for each major I was interested in. I looked up the requirements for my finance major and for my world religions major. And I sat in a religious studies class, which I enjoyed. And so that's why I decided to come.
Okay, good. So you sat in a class, you did the research, you spoke. Sometimes it helps to, here's a tip that's hard to implement if you're under a little bit of pressure. Whenever you can bring in another human being into the answer, it's often very valuable.
Got it.
I spoke to my mentor. I met a friend on campus. My best friend was a year ahead of me. She was there. Anytime you can bring in a human being as part of the answer, it's really valuable.
Great advice.
These are some of their typical questions. What was your favorite course?
My favorite class would have to be one called Love and Death. And it was a class,
Which part did you like?
The love. But the death was fascinating too. So that class was actually...
Well, how did it work? It sounds like Woody Allen was teaching that.
So Love and Death was basically looking at themes of love and themes of death across ancient stories. So for example, we looked at Gilgamesh, which had both love and death. We looked at ancient Sumerian rituals. One I really liked was called Inanna's Descent. And that whole class is structured around looking at those themes within stories.
Good, that's a good answer. Another frequent question is, and this is a little tricky, they go, what was unexpected when you first got to SMU?
That's a good question. I would say that what was unexpected was how many fellowships I would take advantage of, and I guess how applied my learning became. I didn't know that I would...
Come on, that's a goody-goody answer.
It is, but I would say for me, it's actually true. I never thought that I would take what I learned in my finance classes and I guess use it abroad when I went to Cambodia to research
But the
microfinance.
question is, what was
Yeah,
unexpected when you first got there?
got
Not
it.
looking back, what was unexpected?
So okay, that makes sense. So I guess what was unexpected for me was when I was looking at a certain school, I didn't expect the Greek life to be that prevalent. I knew
Yeah,
it was a major
that's a good
factor.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew there was a heavy Greek life when I got there. It was much more dominant than I
than I
thought.
expected, exactly.
Yeah.
And being someone who doesn't really fit into that mold, it was quite a challenge to find my place on campus.
Well, no kidding. That's interesting. How did you?
I plugged into different clubs and I even started my own. I think what happened was I went to where diversity was. I'm a diverse person and I celebrate it. And so I went to clubs that I knew, for example, the East Asian Society Club, the Indian Student Association. And that's where I first met that's where I first met my friends at SMU. And then when I
Mhm.
decided I wanted to have more of that, I created my own club, the Religious Studies Club on campus.
Yikers. What was that like?
That was quite the experience. You know, it's really hard starting a club because at first I couldn't get people to come, but I think
Yeah, I
persisting
believe
enough.
it. Especially
Yeah,
what was the name of the club?
it was the Religious Studies Club.
Well, you give a lot. You had an open buffet for that to sign up or what?
I had pizza. I had pizza and it worked. The first meeting I had didn't actually have pizza. I just showed up and only two other people showed up. So
Uh-huh.
I brought on officers,
Were
I
they your
brought other
first
people.
disciples?
My first converts, yep.
Yeah.
And basically, I brought other people, other majors I knew who were interested in the club. And I think having those people helped me get a wider network of people to reach out to, which
Yeah.
eventually helped us build the club out to about 30 or so people.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question they often ask. They said, if I interviewed the people at that club and I said, what kind of leader is this guy? What would they say?
They would probably say that I am an empathetic leader, one who is a go getter, but can also be a little bit impulsive. The reason why is because I love exploring new places. And for example, I would have events all over. For example, we did an event where we brought Scientologists on campus to have a panel. I have taken people to go to the Buddhist Center of Dallas. We've gone all over the city, trying out many different things. And I mean, I would say that it's been an awesome experience because of
Good.
it.
Okay, that's a good answer. You're getting better. You're getting relaxed, and you're getting into your mode. If you could do the whole interview the way you did that question, you'll be fine. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Uh, let's talk about your work experience. Tell me what did you do at Capital One, and what did you think?
Yeah, so I actually took on Capital One because I was really interested in seeing how business works with technology. My last internship at EY actually dealt with that. We dealt with robotic process automation, and that's kind of why I decided I
Okay,
wanted to
you're
try.
you're 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 trying to score a home run again instead of just
Yeah,
hitting the ball at single. The
got it.
question is real. Don't
Yeah,
don't showboat, man.
got it.
You've got you're there's a part of you that's a positive that is good at that and that is
Uh-huh.
optimistic and that expands the frame and that you're always trying to upgrade the conversation.
Yeah,
That will serve you very well in many parts of your life. This half-hour interview is not one of them. Okay.
got it. Okay.
They want a clear, direct answer. The question was, what did you do at Capital One, and tell me about that. You go, I spent 2 months at Capital One the summer after my junior year. My
Yeah,
title was a product management and analytic intern. I was part of a class of 5 people, and basically what we did was this, and this, and and then you can be qualitative about the experience. You get it?
got it. That makes sense. So basically, I was a Capital One intern and I worked in product management where I owned my own project for the summer. My project was to work with the metrics our salespeople use, and I try to make them more user friendly and more accurate.
Yeah,
And
man. Okay,
yeah,
good so far. Okay,
great.
but they're going to say, explain that to me. What metrics do they use, and how is some college junior going to help people that are doing this for a living?
Sure. So The metrics they used were to basically find car dealerships across the country that salespeople could go network with and basically sign on with Capital One's loans. The metrics helped them find
Okay,
which
let me get
dealerships.
this right.
Yeah.
So these salespeople weren't it was business to business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's you go. When people think of salespeople at a bank, they think of people trying to sell you a mortgage or something.
Okay, got it.
Uh, but yeah, that's fine. You go. It was a real interesting thing. What the bank was attempting to do was extend its footprint to doing auto leasing loans and car loans.
Yeah.
That's correct, right? Or
Yeah, exactly.
close enough. Yeah. And what I did was I was working with the salespeople who were trying to create these relationships with car dealers.
Mm-hmm.
And my job was to do blah blah.
Yeah.
So
That-
what was your job?
So my job was basically to look at the metrics they used when targeting those dealers and make them more
I
user
don't get
friendly.
it.
Yeah.
Did they have trouble finding out where car dealers were,
They
or
didn't.
was it
They had trouble finding out which car dealerships to go to. You know, some car
why?
dealerships.
Yeah,
Some car
car
dealerships.
dealerships are probably parts of other dealers,
Yeah.
right? So they had to
Well,
get to the mothership.
some of them sign on with other dealers and other banks, for example. Some of them are loyal to Ally or to Synchrony. And so we needed to find banks that would, car dealerships that would be receptive to Capital One.
Nationwide or in your area or what?
So each salesperson has a target within their area. And so we had salespeople nationwide, but each one of them had their own area to work within.
I get it, but
Yeah,
I'm not visualizing it. I'm not visualizing what you do. I
got
think
it.
having
So
having a car dealer sign up with your bank to do the financing, this strikes me as a super big deal.
it is a big deal, yeah, because there's 200 dealerships or so in each salesperson's area, right? And so we need to find, let's say, 3 to 5 of the best dealerships to work with. And so to find
Okay,
those
so what would
dealerships,
you call a good prospect?
a good prospect would be a dealership that has a lot of customers coming to it, buying a lot of cars, and B, those customers need to be taking on loans to buy those cars. And finally, C, the customers who take on those loans need to be taking on loans that aren't tied to a specific bank. Some dealerships have relationships with other banks, like I mentioned, Synchrony or
Yeah,
Ally.
okay, so
Yeah.
those are the filters you're looking for. How do you find that out? Is that on the internet?
It's not on the internet, but Capital One buys data to use that. So they buy data called Dealer Track, and that data basically tags license plate numbers with loans. And so that's
I love
kind of
it. I
how,
love it. I love it.
yeah, that's
What a
kind of
world.
how we
What
found
a
it.
world. Yep. So good. Now that we understand all that, take a deep breath and answer the question again. Hey there, tell me about your gig at Capital One. What did you do and how did you like it?
Yeah, of course. So my gig at Capital One was I was a product management intern where I owned my own project over the summer, which was to help Capital One salespeople reach out to dealerships, car dealerships, more effectively. My job was to look at the metrics they were using to find those car dealerships and basically make them more streamlined and more effective. Overall, with the
Okay,
experience,
that is not a fully competent answer. It's an answer that will get what they'll do is interrupt
yeah,
and they'll clarify.
got it.
So, but it helps to have it clear in your own mind.
Uh-huh.
But the reality is they'll interrupt if they
Yeah,
don't understand. Or they often interrupt because they're bored and they like to show off to the other person.
got it.
Okay. Yeah, here's a question people that they often ask that people have a hard time answering. They often say, what risks will 2+2 allow you to take? Do you
So
understand the question?
I'm actually really excited about this question because 2+2 would help me to explore social impact more. I know that my dream job after graduation would be to work for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and as a strategy officer. That's why I'm doing corporate strategy right now, but I love to get my feet wet in actual social impact. There's a specific fellowship I'm interested in Rwanda, in the capital city Kigali, with a microfinance bank called Urwego Microfinance. And if I got 2+2, I would love to spend a year there as a field journalist fellow and work with people there.
So for you, it would be maybe 2+3.
Exactly. Perhaps
Yeah,
2 years in corporate strategy,
yeah,
and then
that's a okay. You finally got it. If you flip that answer, it's a great answer. You go,
mhm.
2+2 is perfect for me. What my plan is to spend 2 years at Liberty Mutual, and then the third year, I plan to begin my follow up my interest in social enterprise and work for this outfit in Africa.
Yeah,
Or or if I really start to feel confident, I might go to Africa after 1 year and spend a
yeah,
few years there. So that's a perfect answer.
awesome.
Okay. Another popular 2+2 question is, tell me a leader, no, tell me a mentor. Tell me the most important mentor you've ever dealt with.
The most important mentor I've had. Mm, oh gosh, I can't think of any right now.
Okay, let me change the, well, yeah. Hey, everybody out there, go in there with a mentor. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about a leader you admire.
A leader I admire would be Indra Nooyi. She was the former CEO of PepsiCo, and she actually came to SMU to give a talk. She also shook my hand, which is really cool of her. I admire her because she's South Indian, just like me.
Uh-huh.
And so it's great to see a woman who's South Indian, make it big and lead a whole company that's
Yeah, that's a
international.
great answer. So sometimes their follow-up question is, well, what are the traits, what are the strengths that she has that you will need to become a leader like her?
I think one strength that she has that's very underrated is her humility. I mean, I was, really impressed by
that's that's almost an answer that's a little too cute. So you think you need
really.
to be more humble?
Well, I mean, if I ever made it big like that, I hope I would be. To be able to come out and shake college students' hands, I thought she was really kind to
I
do
don't
that.
know. You want to give her a Nobel Prize for that? Honestly, I'm a
um,
big fan. Okay, I'm just saying
yeah,
it's not about her. It's about what you're saying about her.
got it. So I would say that she is not afraid of change. She basically took PepsiCo and moved it in a healthier direction. And so she was innovative, but also was sensitive of the market.
Bold. Yeah, she was
She was
innovative and
bold.
bold. Right.
Exactly.
And she's also has a based on her background and her experiences, she's got a global outlook. She deals with PepsiCo has got business in all over the world, so she's got
Yeah.
to deal with people from really different backgrounds, and that would be a talent that I would have to develop.
Hmm.
And maybe another thing is, uh, well, if you had some other quality that you knew from studying her, like and she's also a pretty shrewd um, risk taker. Like
Hmm.
when she did X and Y, that was really taking a risk.
Yeah.
My instincts are, I'm a little more risk averse right now.
Yeah, that's okay. That makes sense.
That would be a
Sure.
good answer. Yeah, not
Hmm.
not only does it make sense, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me just go through my script here. Oh yeah, where do you want to be in 5 years, and what do you want to do in the long term? These are popular questions.
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, my dream job is to work with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I would say that in 5 years, I hope I'm a senior strategy officer there. In the long run, I would love to work for better poverty alleviation in South India, where I was born. And I know the Bill Gates Foundation works in North India, and I'd love to carry out what they do to South India as well.
Okay, good. They might follow up on that and
Yeah,
ask you what's particular about South India or North India. A lot of people in the United States, India is,
one giant. Yeah.
it's a big archipelago of restaurants that are very good. Restaurants and CEOs, right? Uh, uh,
Yeah.
okay, this is another. These are actual 2+2 questions. Tell me about a recent failure.
A recent failure. So I would say last year, I actually tried to start a business with a friend. Our business
Nice.
idea, yeah, our business idea was to connect the front desks of hotels with guests through an app, similar to what Hilton does, but we wanted to go to smaller end business hotel chains like Ramada or Days Inn. And we competed in SMU's business plan competition, but we didn't win. And the reason why was because while we were prepared, we didn't really connect why this idea was so important, and we didn't really scale it upwards.
What should you have done?
What we should have done was made it more, we should have made our idea clear to the audience, to the judges, and show them why it would work.
Yeah, okay.
And
So
we should have,
what you're doing is saying a recent failure was failing in this business idea competition.
yeah, our idea, yeah, exactly. Our performance at the competition was our failure. And we should have been more prepared. We should have had financial projections of what we expected.
Yeah, okay. So
But
the
we
answer
didn't.
is, I recently was in this business idea competition, and we had a great idea, and my failure and the failure
Yeah,
of my partner was the presentation was a disaster, and here's why.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what'd you learn from that?
Well, I learned that you need to be proactive and you need to anticipate what people's questions will be, what our judges' questions would be. And you also need to be prepared. I should have had those financial projections, like I mentioned.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's call it quits there. You get the idea. You're a talented guy. You've got a lot going for you, and I think you should do well on this interview.
Thanks. I think my main key learning here was just to not showboat and just be clear and direct. Yeah.
Conversational, no showboating. Answer the
Yeah.
questions quickly without a lot of fanfare.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to sign off. Thank you and good luck.
Thanks, Sandy.
Let me know how the real interview goes.
For sure. It's been real helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.